Ditcheva with the third round.
Born into a family of martial artists and guided by her legendary kickboxing mother,
spinning elbow.
Dakota Ditcheva has been told for years she's too pretty for fighting. And yet one recent performance made it clear she's one of the best flyweights on the planet.
And this is the thing, and another, and a knee.
In fact, she might be the most lethal female fighter of her era.
Wow.
And she has already proven that she's UFC level and the ultimate flyweight wrecking machine. Here's how Dakota Ditcheva put her elite status on display with maximum violence points. But first, let's take a trip back in time. Dakota didn't enter the world without some pretty big shoes to fill. Her entire family are involved in fighting to some degree, but her mother, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞, was the true standout fighter. A world champion kickboxer who also fought at an elite level in kickboxing. Dakota grew up living in the shadow of her mother as a proud daughter, but she would quickly carve out her own path. These days, her mother remains a huge part of her camp, coaching her daughter to even greater heights than the ones she herself reached.
Everyone comes up to you like, who the trainers just come up to me and say, beat me up, you know? It was things like that that I love, and I just think went along to a class, joined in, and I enjoyed it, but I think...
Ditcheva was an elite kickboxer in her own right, long before she put on the 4-ounce gloves of mixed martial arts. As soon as she began fighting in the ring, it became clear she was already destined for even greater things than her mother. Transitioning to MMA was never going to be easy. Learning all that grappling and wrestling was a lot of work, but to say that Dakota took to it like a natural would be putting it lightly. She was slowly becoming the perfect fighting machine, and soon she would prove it inside the cage. And when she finally climbed to the highest peak within the PFL, she'd leave no doubts over her world-class talents. In her pro debut against Jenny Line, Dakota would have enjoyed the chance to show off what she'd been working on, but Line couldn't give her a tough outing. Ditcheva broke away from every attempt to slow the fight down, and eventually she nailed her with something special, announcing herself to the MMA world with big violence points.
Spinning elbow.
Oh, wow. Oh, knee. She drops.
It's a masterclass.
Dakota Ditcheva!
Ditcheva!
But in this fight, we certainly got to see a different side to Ditcheva.
Dakota, the knees, the elbows. This young lady likes to strike. And this is the thing, and another, and a knee, and another elbow, and another.
And it was obvious that her comfort levels on the ground were in a really good place. Dakota wasn't just comfortable though. She was dominant from top position, showcasing her ability to use many different facets of her skill set.
Presenting Team Fight Brazil, taking on...
We're pro fighters. Her mum was a world champion, I believe.
It's going to keep Dakota on her toes and all. But again,
nice
in top
shots.
position.
He's similar size. He's got all that sort
Ditcheva was only really getting started, and yet she was starting to resemble the female 𝐬𝐫𝐽 out there. Ditcheva's grounded pound was becoming a problem for these girls. They were in trouble if they stood at range, and in danger of getting ragdolled on the mat if they attempted to wrestle. Dakota was pretty clearly becoming a nightmare matchup.
Dakota Ditcheva with the finish yet again.
And has she been troubled yet?
Well, questions were asked. You look at the grappling prowess there of Patricia, and she dealt with it, the leg lock game, and she dealt with it with the best way.
Undefeated Dakota Ditcheva!
With her mother anxiously watching from the sidelines, Dakota entered the PFL with some real hype and took things to a totally different level.
From Dakota, push kick, drops, has the 𝐬𝐫𝐸, and then the right hand.
She started absolutely destroying all of her opponents. Ditcheva was light years ahead of all these women, making each win look easier than the last.
Looking out of her element here, she's hurt. The end of the fight.
Yeah, there are some brutal knees.
Strikes Dakota Ditcheva.
Dakota.
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐤 Ditcheva!
If one thing became abundantly clear, it was that Ditcheva could beat these mid-level girls in her sleep.
Just to catch one of those front kicks from Dakota Ditcheva to pummel in.
And that a step up in competition would be needed before we could actually gauge how good she really was.
Just nasty stuff. Long lever. She does a great job of knowing her distance. You think she's just a Muay Thai expert.
But just as we thought we couldn't get any more definitive proof of her well-roundedness, Dakota decided to show us exactly how good her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was getting.
Good job on the momentum rolling into her.
Looking to scream out. She's got it.
But what do you think so far? Are you impressed with Dakota Ditcheva's talents? Let us know in the comments below.
This is to face Valentina Skatizi in double. This is your reward. Back on the feet with Dakota Ditcheva.
𝐟𝐸𝐫 managed to drag Ditcheva a little deeper into the bout than expected, forcing the English star all the way to round 3.
Oh, nice right hand.
Really good job of feinting.
But that didn't make her punishment any less severe. Cardio is very clearly not an issue for Dakota,
Toughness on display in.
and she looked as lethal as can be, even after 10 minutes of fighting.
Dakota Ditcheva with the third round finish.
Dakota Ditcheva.
Valentina Skatizi didn't actually get the same knockout loss that everyone else on this video received. But in many ways, what Dakota did to her was a lot worse. By the end of the opening round, Ditcheva had brutalized her eye so badly that the officials decided it would be way too risky to let Skatizi out for round 2.
The fighter being unable to continue. Declaring your winner, Dakota Ditcheva!
See the speed of Dakota Ditcheva on display. Nasty combination.
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 was by no means the first fighter to try and take a wrestling-heavy approach in the hopes of stifling Dakota's striking.
Right hand there from Dakota.
But she managed to fail pretty spectacularly.
Body by Ditcheva. Right back. Oh, big knee.
That's the end. This is in big trouble. Referee was looking closely. 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. No question this woman. Another knee to the mid.
Offering very little in terms of a challenge for this rising prospect.
Shots. This one to the end. First round finish for Dakota Ditcheva. And it was the body work.
Dangerous Dakota Ditcheva.
Ditcheva in the black kit, 𝐿𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿 with... Oh! Straight right hand!
Into a grappling range now. She's going to be open to knees.
It was around the time of her clash with Chelsea Hackett that Dakota started to become one of the most well-rounded fighters in the game.
Face to the face.
Dakota.
You could tell that each and every facet of her skill set was now starting to become elite.
Makes the playoffs with a win. Brutal. Oh, nasty combination. And the body work, and that'll do it! Dakota Ditcheva with a quick set.
In other words, the window for quickly taking down and submitting Ditcheva was practically shut forever.
Class work again from Dakota Ditcheva in the striking.
Ditcheva was now just one fight away from a showdown with Taila Santos for a $1 million prize.
Immediately on the attack.
Bishop in trouble.
And that does it! First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences the doubter.
But despite this pressure, she walked into that cage and absolutely ran through Jenna Bishop like she wasn't even there.
Bishop back on the ground. The referee's seen enough. With that knee right there on the button, dropped her straight to her knees. Perfect shot, little hammer fist.
That win over Jenna Bishop was enough to seal Ditcheva's spot in the tournament final. And she would take on the woman who'd given Valentina Shevchenko one of her toughest ever matchups. Taila Santos pushed the bullet hard, proving that she was worthy of a spot in the top 5 at 125 pounds. With a huge cash prize up for grabs, this level of pressure might have been too much to handle for most young prospects. But Dakota is very clearly not like most prospects. She walked in there like she was born on the big stage. Santos was always going to ask some interesting questions of Dakota, and early on, you could see that Ditcheva was pretty comfortable making her reads, biding her time before pulling the trigger. She knew that a single mistake could give her much more experienced opponent an advantage.
Good movement on the head. Let's talk about everything you need to kickstart your new year.
These two big knees up the middle. She's trying to frame out, keep Santos off of her. Santos knows.
Push kick from Dakota Ditcheva.
I think Santos is hurt.
Elbow up. There's a
Santos is hurt.
But when the time came to bring the hammer down, Ditcheva looked extremely confident in her ability to put this fight to bed once and for all.
There's that knee up the middle. That one for sure. Santos, she's in big trouble.
Dakota Ditcheva to the body.
She just beat the brakes off one of the best flyweights on the planet. A fighter who was extremely competitive in there with Valentina Shevchenko. But Dakota made Shevchenko's performance look like a sparring session. Makes you wonder how that fight plays out, right?
I just beat the best girl that's out there out of any other division, so, and they've been talking, and she's been saying, she's just a Barbie, she should be a model. Beat your ass in round 2, so shut up.
She went on to defeat Sumiko Inaba in her next bout.
It's been one-way traffic.
Oh, nasty beautiful from Dakota. And there's the elbow. Back elbow. And she's showing off now.
But in reality, the world got all the proof they could ever need when she clinched that $1 million check by beating Santos.
Grabs one more clinch. Big knee to the body.
She had nothing for Dakota Ditcheva.
Dakota Dangerous Ditcheva.
Dangerous Dakota Ditcheva fans, let her know how you feel.
Her reputation was already sealed, and now MMA fans across the world are just hoping that Ditcheva decides to drop out of PFL and test herself on the biggest stage possible. Could you imagine how much of an impact she could have on the UFC's women's division? But what do you think about Dakota Ditcheva and her rise through the PFL's 125-pound division? And do you think she could hang with the best of the best in the UFC? Support this channel's growth by letting us know in the comments below.